So let's start our last topic of this chapter, that is OGIF or cumulative frequency curve. So OGIF, what is meant by OGIF? A curve obtained by presenting of the cumulative frequency distribution on the graph is known as a cumulative frequency curve or OGIF. Since there are two types of cumulative frequencies distribution, less than cumulative frequencies and more than cumulative frequencies. We have accordingly two types of OGIFs here, less than OGIFs and more than OGIFs. So let us see how it is looking like. It will be shown like this. Less than, okay, so less than, how we are making it according to the table, the frequencies that is given to in the table, according to that we have to make. So what are the steps we are following it? In less than method, frequencies of all the preceding class intervals are added to the frequency of the classes. Plot less than cumulative frequencies against the upper limit of corresponding class intervals. The points so obtained are joined by the smooth freehand curve to give the less than OGIF. Less than OGIFs is so obtained in the increasing of the curve slope upward from the left to right. Like that we have to create it. So that is depend on us, whatever the table is given, sometimes upward to downwards and downwards to upward from there. So the constructing for the constructing less than OGIF, upper limit of the class interval is shown along on the x-axis and cumulative frequencies is respective class on the y-axis. So cumulative frequency will plot it against the upper limit of the class interval. These points are joined with the help of a free hand, and that is less than OGIF. Now we will discuss about the more than OGIF. What is mean by more than OGIF? So the more than OGIFs, various steps need for the more than OGIFs. In more than method, frequencies of all the succeeding class intervals that are given to us are added to the frequency in the class. That is, start with the lower limit of the class. For example, 8 is given for it, so we will start from there. 8, 5, 8, then we will just add in the 8 whatever the frequencies is given upper than that. For example, 10 is given, so we will just next point is 18. So likewise that. So plot more than cumulative frequencies against the lower limit of corresponding class interval. The points so obtaining are joined by the smooth freehand curve, that is more than OGIF. Is obtained slope downward from the left to right, as you seen in the figure also in front of you. So both the more than and less than OGIFs, it is possible to draw both less and more OGIFs in the same graph. Here it is given in the figure 4.8. The intersection of these two curves with the give in the value of the median. When we are doing the median, so we will find out the middle value of the data. So that will be find out through this OGIFs. So both the OGIFs, but we have to remember one thing when we are drawing this. Less than OGIF curves can be obtained by plotting the less than cumulative frequency against the upper limit of the class interval. On the contrary, for more than OGIF, more than cumulative frequency is plotted against the over limit of the class limit. So according to that, you now we will discuss the next topic of that is arithmetic line graph. We can say that time series graph also. The arithmetic line graph is also called time series graph, and its method of the diagrammatic presentation of the data in the time for hours, day, week, month, years, etc. is plotted along x-axis and value is variables of time series along with the y-axis. A line graph by the joining these plotted points thus obtained is called the arithmetic line graph or time series line graphs. It helps to understanding the trend, periodicity, etc. in the long term in the data series. So here we can discuss like that. Here the export imports of the time and all that is given. So according to that we have to be create the line graph. I will explain you actually when the value of the variables are recorded with respect to the time of its occurrence, then the arrangement is known as time series graph. Time series help to understand the trend, periodicity, etc. in the long term time series data. The time period may be like yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, days, and so on. The time series graph is also known as a histogram or the line graph. When the actual time series data is graphed, the histogram is called absolute histogram. And when the index number of given time is graphed, the histogram is called the index histogram. In a time series, there are two variables, time and variables under study. So how can we do it? For making the time series graph, what we have to be making the precautions and how can we make it? Plot time along the x-axis here. Here the years are just allotted there. And then in the example you have seen in the table graph number 4.9. And it independent variable. The other variable is a depend on the variable, so it is measured along in the x-axis. Whatever the variable is given. Here they are variable given in the rupees in the crores, maybe the people, maybe the things, whatever is variable is given. So we have to put on the y-axis. The various points so obtained are joined by the straight line to get the time graph. One variable graph we can make if only the one variable is to be shown, then the time is measured along with the x-axis value of the variable and y-axis. The various time points are plotted against the corresponding value and are joined in a straight line. The fluctuation of the sideline despite the variation in the variable and distance of the point from the baseline of the graph indicates the magnitude. So this magnitudes help us to find out the solution of the easy way to the data. So this is the main thing in the line graph. Here in this example, you will see that there are two different line curves are there. So when we are using two variables in the same for the same years for the same time, so we can put like this. We can make another graph accordingly in the year. Have you seen the table here? This is the table on which we have based on. In this basis, we have created this graph. So export and import, both two variables are given, like one export and another import. So in the 1977 to 78, export is this and import is this. So what they have to show with the two different lines, they have shown this thing. 1978, 77 to 78. Here it is given one for, so it is slight difference we will see, but it will be gap will be increased here, and so it will show that what is the main difference between both the variables. So comparison between two things, if we want to do on the same time period, it is quite easy with the help of a time based graph. So now I will conclude the chapter that in the all the graphs there is a limitation in the present graphic presentation. Limited application, they are intended most to explain the quality facts of the general public. For the experts, graph presentation is not much to use. Misuse in the possible for changing for a small change done by in the graph, so it will just error created sometimes. If the error in the scale also, some wrong measurement is taken in the scale, so this will also create a error in the thing. So that is the problem. It will mislead the result to the people. So that is the thing. Next is subjective. Graphs are subjective in the character. Their interpretation varies from the person to person. Lack of accuracy, if we are not taking the data properly or accurately, if the fluctuation is data is there, then the graph is not accurate. So we can say that graphs are very important for us. It is a textual and tabular, more than textual and tabular. Graphics are easy, but if it will be made with the high quality of accuracy or with the expert, then it will be very useful for us. Now I will send the notes of these chapter for you.